life surrounding their shores, from playful dolphins to the more elusive bull sharks. While the latter was rarely seen near the beaches, old fishermen had stories of close encounters in the deeper waters. With his insatiable curiosity, Alex had heard about these bull sharks and was determined to see one. He had been scuba diving in various parts of the world, but had never encountered this particular marine predator. Teaming up with a local guide named Diego Garcia, Alex decided to venture further from the shore, where the waters were deeper and the chances of spotting a bull shark were higher. Diego, a seasoned diver with salt in his veins, had grown up listening to his grandfather's tales of the sea. He knew the waters of San Marino like the back of his hand, and was well aware of the spots where one might glimpse the elusive bull shark. However, he always maintained a safe distance and advised others to do the same. The morning of the dive, the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink. Alex, Diego, and a small group of divers set out on a boat named Marina's Pride. As they ventured further from the shore, Diego briefed the group about safety protocols, emphasizing the importance of maintaining distance from any marine life they might encounter. Hours into the dive, Alex's wish came true amid vibrant corals and schools of colorful fish. A shadow loomed in the distance, its sleek form unmistakably that of a bull shark. The group watched in awe, their hearts racing. The curious but non-aggressive shark circled them a few times before disappearing into the blue. However, in his excitement, Alex swam too close, trying to capture the perfect shot with his underwater camera. Diego noticed and immediately signaled for Alex to retreat, reminding him of the potential danger. As the shark's silhouette faded, the group regrouped, their adrenaline still high. They had experienced the thrill of the ecosystem, the symbiotic relationships, and the role of predators like the bull shark in maintaining this balance. Ethan and Natalie began their descent as they anchored at a spot known for its diverse marine life. The world below was a riot of colors. Fish of all shapes and sizes darted around, and the corals stood tall, swaying gently with the currents. Ethan was spellbound, absorbing every detail, every movement. But as they ventured deeper, the mood changed. The playful chirps of the smaller fish gave way to a profound silence. The waters here were calmer, and the visibility was reduced. It was in this setting that Ethan felt a presence. Turning slowly, he came face to face with the majestic bull shark. Its eyes, cold and assessing, fixed on him. The next few moments were a blur. The shark, curious about these intruders, circled them. Every move it made was deliberate, showcasing its power and dominance. Though initially frozen in awe, Ethan remembered the guidelines for such encounters. Avoiding sudden movements and maintaining a calm demeanor was crucial. With years of experience, Natalie signaled Ethan to ascend slowly, ensuring they maintained a safe distance from the shark. As they moved upwards, the bull shark, perhaps satisfied with its assessment, retreated into the deeper waters. Back on the boat, the gravity of the encounter weighed on Ethan. He had met with one of nature's most formidable predators and lived to tell the tale. The experience, though harrowing, gave him a newfound respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. The adrenaline from their previous encounter with the bull shark hadn't quite worn off when Ethan desired to dive again. Natalie was initially hesitant, but seeing Ethan's determination, she agreed, emphasizing the need for even stricter precautions this time. The following morning, and if luck favored, a shot of the elusive bull shark. The boat's captain, Samuel, a middle-aged man, had been navigating these waters for years. He warned Clara of the areas to avoid, especially a region called the Abyss, a deep trench where bull sharks were often sighted. As the boat anchored near a coral reef, Clara dived into the water, the world below welcoming her with its myriad colors and forms. Schools of fish darted around, and the corals stood tall, swaying with the currents. Lost in the beauty, Clara ventured further, her camera capturing moments that few had witnessed. Time flew, and without realizing it, Clara drifted towards the abyss. The water here was more astonishing, the surroundings darker. An eerie silence replaced the playful chirps of the smaller fish, and then she saw a shadow in the distance, growing larger with each passing second. The unmistakable form of a bull shark, its eyes locked onto Clara. Panic set in. Clara knew she had ventured too far, too close to the territory of one of the ocean's most formidable predators. She remembered Samuel's warnings and cursed herself for her recklessness. But fleeing in panic could provoke the shark. She needed to think fast. The immediate threat of the bull shark loomed large in Clara's mind. Every documentary and article about these creatures emphasized their unpredictable nature.
With colorful fish darting and swirling around them, and corals swaying with otherworldly gardens. But as they ventured deeper, the water grew darker, and an uneasy feeling crept over them. Katie's senses sharpened as she noticed a foreboding shape lurking in the murky abyss below. Her heart skipped a beat as she squinted, trying to discern its identity, but it vanished before her eyes. The tension in the water was palpable, and a sense of mystery hung in the air, sending shivers down their spines. What could it have been? The couple exchanged nervous glances, Their curiosity piqued, and a sense of trepidation gnawed at them as they continued to explore the enigmatic underwater world, wary of what other secrets it might hold. Little did they know, a colossal bull shark had been silently lurking in the unfathomable depths of the lake, keenly observing their every move. Drawn by the commotion caused by the boat, the predator had been stealthily closing in, patiently biding its time. John, unknowingly separated from Katie, found himself alone in the water, vulnerable and oblivious to the impending danger. With a sudden bone-chilling jolt, a fin sliced through the surface, sending ripples of fear through the air. The massive shark circled closer, its predatory instincts kicking into high gear. Its eyes glimmered with primal fear as it homed in on its prey. The water seemed to thicken with tension as the shark's sleek form glided sinuously through the shadows, circling John with calculated precision. The atmosphere was suffused with palpable suspense as the shark closed the distance, its dark eyes fixed on its unsuspecting target, ready to strike at any moment. The couple's idyllic shaking mix of beauty and danger, found in Shark Ray Alley, a stretch of crystal-clear waters off the coast of Belize. The azure waters of the Caribbean Sea glimmered under the scorching sun, illuminating the vibrant corals and tropical fish that swam within. But beneath the surface, the true highlight of Shark Ray Alley was something else. The sharks. The nurse sharks were a sight to behold, with their smooth gray skin and majestic presence. These creatures were known for their gentle and serene demeanor, making them a popular choice for photo shoots. Laura had swam with them previously, and she felt completely at ease with their company. The way they glided through the water with effortless grace, their inquisitive eyes following her every move, made for an unforgettable experience. As the photo shoot was going smoothly and the crew was well ahead of schedule, Laura decided to take a dip in the tranquil waters, feeling the sun's warmth on her skin. The nurse sharks gracefully circled around her, as if performing an elegant ballet, creating a serene and peaceful atmosphere. Laura felt at ease as she moved through the clear turquoise water, admiring the vibrant coral and fish beneath her. It was a moment of pure bliss, a temporary escape from the chaos of the world. She was so confident in the docile nature of the nurse sharks that she let her guard down, unaware of the ominous presence lurking just beyond her vision. The tranquility of Shark Ray Alley was shattered in an instant. The water that was once so calm turned into a bloody red frenzy. Laura's serene swim turned into a nightmare as she felt an excruciating pain rip through her leg, like hot iron searing her flesh. When she looked down, her worst fears were realized. A bull shark had sunk its razor-sharp teeth into her skin, intent on dragging her deeper into the abyss. The predator's eyes burned with fierce hunger, its jaws clamping down tighter but then, out of nowhere, a dark shadow loomed beneath the surface. Andy barely had time to register what was happening before a massive creature revealed itself to Andy and all his friends. To their horror, they met the apex predator of the sea, the great white shark. As Andy struggled in the water, his body thrashing with fear, his eyes locked onto the great white shark's eyes. They were cold and black, filled with a primal hunger that chilled him to the bone. The shark's massive jaws opened wide, revealing row upon row of razor-sharp teeth, each one glinting in the sunlight. Andy's heart pounded in his chest as he fought to stay afloat, but the shark was relentless. Its powerful jaws clamped down on his leg, the teeth sinking deep into his flesh. The pain was excruciating, a white-hot fire that shot through his entire body. The freezing ocean engulfed him, the salt water stinging his eyes and nostrils. He kicked and thrashed, desperate to reach the surface and escape the jaws of the great white. But the shark was relentless, circling him with the precision of a hunter, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Blood seeped into the water from the gash on Andy's leg, a result of the shark's initial assault. The metallic tang of blood filled the water, further inciting the shark's primal instincts. Andy's heart raced as he felt the beast's massive jaws clamp down on his leg, its serrated teeth tearing through flesh and bone like a hot knife through butter. He screamed, the pain unbearable, as the shark shook its massive head, trying to rip him apart. Andy's survival instincts kicked in, and he fought back with everything he had. He jabbed at the shark's eyes, desperately trying to pry open its monstrous jaws that were clamped around his leg. The water turned into a crimson hue as blood mixed with seawater, creating a macabre scene. His vision blurred, his strength waning. Andy knew he was in the fight for his life. He mustered every ounce of energy left in him, and delivered a powerful punch to the shark's snout. The shark finally released him, its eyes rolling back in momentary shock, giving Andy the opportunity he needed. He propelled himself towards the surface, blood trailing behind him like a grotesque crimson ribbon. His friends on the boat were screaming his name, reaching out for him as he breached the surface, gasping for air. But the shark wasn't done yet. With a final burst of speed, the great white charged at Andy, its massive jaws gaping wide. Andy's friends watched in horror as the shark's teeth closed around him, tearing him apart in a gruesome spectacle. Blood sprayed into the air, painting the ocean in a deep shade of red as Andy's body disappeared beneath the surface, consumed by a ravenous predator. The sea calmed, the only evidence of the harrowing ordeal being the blood-stained water, a haunting reminder of the brutal power and unforgiving nature of the great white shark. The rest of the trip was a blur for the group. They made up stories about what had happened to Andy, telling anyone who asked that he had met a girl and decided to stay in South Carolina instead. With a sharp snap of its powerful jaws, the predator clamped down on James's leg, piercing through his skin and pulling him down into the depths of the ocean. James's adrenaline kicked in as he felt the searing pain shoot through his body. He knew he had to fight for his life. He started punching and kicking the shark with all his might, trying to break free from its powerful grip. The water around him turned into a murky red as he continued to struggle against the predator's jaws. Despite his best efforts, James soon realized that he was no match for the shark's immense strength. The creature continued to drag him down deeper and deeper into the ocean, making it harder and harder for him to breathe. James knew he had to come up with a new plan if he wanted to survive this brutal attack. James's heart raced in his chest as he grappled with a massive great white shark that had latched onto his leg. He kicked and thrashed, desperately trying to break free from the predator's vice-like grip. The shark's teeth pierced deeper into his flesh, sending shockwaves of pain through his body. But James refused to succumb to fear. Drawing upon every ounce of survival instincts, he summoned a surge of determination. He jammed his fingers into the shark's eyes, delivering swift and forceful punches to its gills with his free hand. The shark recoiled, loosening its grip on James's leg for a fleeting moment. It was all the opportunity James needed. With a burst of strength, he wriggled and twisted, finally breaking free from the shark's jaws. Blood clouded the water around him, but James didn't have time to dwell on the pain. He kicked upwards with all his might, desperate for a breath of air. The shark pursued him, sensing a chance for another attack, but James was resolute. Flipping onto his back, James delivered a powerful kick to the shark's snout, stunning it momentarily and buying himself precious seconds. He broke the surface of the water, gasping for breath like a man possessed. The pain in his leg was throbbing, but he refused to let it deter him. Summoning every ounce of strength left in his weary body, James swam toward the nearby rocks with renewed determination. He fought against the resistance of the water, fueled by a surge of adrenaline. Finally, with sheer determination and relentless effort, he reached the safety of the shore, dragging his battered body onto the sand. James lay motionless on the sand, his body bleeding profusely. A small crowd gathered, their faces a mix of shock and horror. As James cried out for help, a quick-thinking beachgoer called the paramedics.
Keeping her movements deliberate and slow, she began to swim backward, maintaining eye contact with the shark. The bull shark, perhaps curious about this intruder in its territory, continued its slow approach but showed no immediate signs of aggression. Clara recalled reading that rapid movements could trigger a predatory response, so she focused on keeping calm and moving steadily. She distanced herself from the abyss and noticed another diver approaching from her left. It was Samuel, who had been alerted by another diver about Clara's precarious situation. Together they began a slow ascent, always mindful of the bull shark, which continued to circle but did not come any closer. Once they reached the boat's safety, the gravity of the situation hit Clara. The adrenaline rush gave way to relief, and she took a moment to collect herself. Samuel, with years of experience under his belt, debriefed the group about the encounter, emphasizing the importance of always staying within designated areas, especially in regions known for the presence of predators. Back on shore, the festival's atmosphere starkly contrasted with the tense situation Clara had just experienced. The lively music and cheerful chatter of the attendees felt worlds away. However, as the day progressed, Clara's story became the
Tighter, as if nothing would stop it from its desired meal. The agony was beyond words, and every movement felt like a struggle against death itself. Laura's screams became choked gasps as she felt herself being dragged into the abyss of the water, her body twisting and contorting as she tried to break free from the shark's vice-like grip. She could feel the water pressure building around her, suffocating her as she struggled to breathe. The bull shark's eyes were fixated on her, its razor-sharp teeth cutting into her flesh like hot knives through butter. Laura could feel her flesh ripping apart from the attacks of this primal predator. The crystal-clear waters of Shark Ray Alley were now transformed into a murky, bloody nightmare. The serene atmosphere was replaced with terror and chaos as Laura's struggles intensified. Her body convulsed with agony as the bull shark continued its merciless attack. Its jaws were clamped down on her leg, pulling her deeper and deeper into the abyss. Laura's vision blurred, and the sound of her own frantic breathing became muffled as the water consumed her. Every second felt like an eternity, and the shark's grip showed no signs of relenting. With her strength fading and the shark's grip tightening, Laura's heart sank. She knew it was only a matter of time before the predator would deliver the final blow. But in a last-ditch effort, she mustered up her energy and kicked out at the bull shark's sensitive snout. The impact jolted the predator, causing it to recoil momentarily. For a fleeting moment, Laura felt a glimmer of hope. The tension in the water was palpable as Laura gasped for air, her heart racing with fear. She knew that the bull shark was still lurking somewhere in the depths below, biding its time before striking again. The quiet stillness of the ocean was shattered by the sounds of her ragged breathing, the only thing standing between her and the ruthless predator. Laura braced herself for the inevitable, knowing that the next attack could be fatal. Laura desperately dragged herself through the water. Her injured leg throbbed in the damage. Gina could feel her life draining away, her vision growing hazy as the world around her blurred into darkness. It was a harrowing and tragic end to what was supposed to be an ordinary day of filming. Matthew stood frozen in terror as he watched the horrific scene unfold before him. He couldn't move, couldn't bring himself to intervene as the bull shark continued to maul his best friend Gina to death. The sight was gut-wrenching, and Matthew felt a sense of helplessness wash over him. But the horror didn't end there. To Matthew's horror, he saw other bull sharks converging on the gruesome scene. They were drawn by the scent of blood in the water, and they were closing in fast. Matthew realized with a sinking feeling that Gina's brutal fate was not over yet. One particularly large bull shark measured around 10 feet in length, charged towards Gina and bit her leg clean off her body. The shark swiftly grabbed its prize and disappeared into the depths of the water, leaving a trail of blood in its wake. The other bull sharks wasted no time in joining the feeding frenzy. They tore into Gina's lifeless, mangled body, ripping off her arms, legs, and head with vicious ferocity. The water turned a sickening shade of red as Gina's blood mixed with the surrounding currents. Matthew could hardly believe what he was witnessing. Within moments, nothing was left of Gina. Her body had been reduced to a gory mess, devoured by the hungry bull sharks. Once Matthew realized that his friend Gina was gone, he snapped out of his shock and realized that he needed to get out of the water before he became the next target. His body was filled with adrenaline and fear as he swam fast as he could, his arms and legs pumping furiously through the water. He had never swum so fast in his life. He pushed himself to the brink as he felt his muscles burning while swimming. Looking back, he saw a fin approaching, and he swam even faster, gritting his teeth to reach the shore. Collapsing under the sand, he cried uncontrollably. This woman, his best friend, was ripped apart by a pack of bull sharks, and he couldn't do anything to save her. Paraglider over the stunningly beautiful turquoise waters of Recife, Brazil. The bright sun beamed down on him, and the wind was perfect for his adventure. Despite his adventurous spirit, Brent was always careful, and he double-checked his equipment before setting off. As he soared higher and higher, the view from the top was breathtaking, and the warm breeze blowing across his face. Brent felt as free as a bird as he glided effortlessly across the crystal-clear waters below. The rush of excitement he felt was indescribable, and he knew that it was a moment he would never forget. Brent was having the time of his life when suddenly, the wind changed direction, becoming stronger than Brent had expected. He tried to control his glider, but the turbulence caused a collapse of his glider, leaving Brent plummeting towards the sea. Brent's heart raced as he braced himself for the impact. He hit the water hard, and the force knocked the breath out of him. He managed to swim to the surface and tried to grab onto the remains of his glider, hoping to stay afloat. But then he noticed something moving in the water, something massive. Suddenly, a fin appeared in the distance, and Brent realized with horror that he was in shark-infested waters. Brent tried to stay calm, but his heart was pounding in his chest, and he knew he had to think fast to survive. He had heard stories of bull sharks that roamed the waters of Recife, and now he feared that he was about to become their prey. In the distance, Brent could see the fin of a massive creature. It started to circle him, and Brent could feel his life flashing before his eyes. He was stuck, floating in the water, with nowhere to go. He tried to scream for help, but his voice was hoarse. Suddenly, the water started to swirl around him, and Brent knew that something was coming. In the distance, he saw a massive bull shark heading straight for him. It was the largest shark he had ever seen, and it was moving quickly towards him. Brent's heart raced, and he knew he had to act fast. The shark charged at Brent, and he reacted quickly, kicking it on the nose with all his might. The blow sent the shark away temporarily, giving Brent a few seconds to think he was in good working order. Then he loaded his gear, including his fishing rods, bait, and tackle, and set off into the open sea. The sky was just starting to turn pink and orange as Juan set out on his boat. He loved the feeling of the sun rising behind him and the way the light made the water sparkle. He headed out to his favorite fishing spot, a few miles from shore, and began to cast his lines. Fishing was not always easy, and it required a lot of patience and skill. Juan had to know where the fish would likely be, and he had to be able to read the currents and the tides in order to catch them. He spent several hours casting his lines, moving the boat around to different spots, and trying different kinds of bait. Finally, he felt a tug on his line, signaling that he had caught something. He began to reel in his line, feeling the weight of the fish pulling against the rod. When he finally saw the fish, he felt a rush of excitement. It was a large grouper, one of the most prized catches in Florida. He carefully brought the fish onto the boat, taking care to remove the hook and to measure it to make sure it was within the legal size limit. He put the fish into a cooler and then set out to catch more. After several minutes, he felt a strong tug on his line. He knew immediately that it was no ordinary fish. He began to reel in his line, feeling the weight of the creature pulling against his rod. As he brought the fish closer to the boat, he realized that he had caught something big. He could see the dorsal fin cutting through the water, and he knew that it was a shark. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins as he battled the fish, trying to bring it in. Juan had mixed emotions about the catch. On the one hand, he felt a rush of excitement at the thought of catching such a powerful creature. On the other hand, he knew that sharks were dangerous animals, and he wasn't sure if he was equipped to handle one. He carefully pulled the shark closer to the boat, trying to keep a safe distance. As he got a closer look, he could see that it was a bull shark, a species known for its aggression and strength. The shark thrashed and fought against the line, trying to break free. Juan struggled to keep his footing as the boat rocked back and forth in the water. He knew he had to be careful, or the shark could easily pull him overboard. After a 20-minute battle, Juan was finally able to bring the shark up to the side of the boat. He could see its razor-sharp teeth and its powerful jaws. He knew that he had to be careful if he was going to release the shark back into the water. He carefully removed the hook from the shark's mouth and took a few quick photos, wanting to remember the experience. Just as he was about to measure the length of the shark, it began jerking around and bit him on his ankle. Luckily, he was able to pry away its jaws instantly and only left him with minor wounds. Because of this, he immediately decided to lower the shark back to the water. For a moment, the shark seemed disoriented and confused. Then it suddenly surged forward, disappearing into the depths of the ocean. Juan breathed a sigh of relief, feeling grateful for the experience, but also glad that it was over. Juan sat back in the boat and began treating his wounds, watching the waves ripple from where the shark had disappeared. He sailed back to the dock where he sought medical attention. He was sent home immediately after being treated for his minor wounds. Back at home, he told the unbelievable story to his family, and they knew he had just had one of the most thrilling experiences of his life. It was a moment he would never forget, and a reminder of the power and majesty of the sea.
Each day venturing a little further, pushing his boundaries. One day, a local named Jasper mentioned a spot called the Crescent Abyss. It was whispered among the townsfolk that this part of the sea was home to the majestic hammerhead sharks. While many avoided it out of fear or respect, Eli's adventurous spirit saw it as a challenge. A few mornings later, Eli paddled towards the Crescent Abyss. The ocean here felt different, deeper, more mysterious. As he glided over a huge wave, a shadow darted below him. Before he could react, a forceful tug pulled him underwater. Emerging from the blue was a massive hammerhead shark. Its eyes, set wide on its uniquely shaped head, seemed to be sizing up this intruder in its domain. Eli's heart raced, but his adventurous spirit kept panic at bay. He knew he had to think quickly. Floating as still as possible on his board, Eli tried to minimize any threat he might pose to the shark. Perhaps puzzled by this unfamiliar presence, the hammerhead circled Eli, its sleek form cutting effortlessly through the water. The ocean's vastness, the shark's proximity, and the realization of his situation weighed heavily on Eli. He knew he had to make a move, but what? The silent ballet between Eli and the hammerhead persisted. a delicate balance of intrigue and caution. A fleeting shadow passed over Eli each time the shark's dorsal fin broke the water's surface. The once inviting waters of Tide's End now felt like a vast, unpredictable expanse. Drawing from snippets of information he'd gathered over the years, Eli remembered that sharks, especially hammerheads, often rely on electromagnetic fields to detect prey. He removed a metallic necklace he wore, a keepsake from his hometown, and tossed it a few feet away. The shiny object and its slight electromagnetic disturbance momentarily diverted the shark's attention. Seizing this brief window of opportunity, Eli began to paddle with gentle, deliberate strokes, aiming to move closer to the shore without alarming the hammerhead. The shark's curiosity, now split between Eli and the metallic object, maintained a distance but continued to shadow him. As the water began to grow shallower, the silhouette of the hammerhead started to fade into the deeper blue, returning to the mysteries of the creature reached their destination. In an unexpected change of heart, Ada suggested they try surfing in the pristine waters. Her father was surprised by her enthusiasm and immediately rented a surfboard for her. With a sense of newfound excitement, Ada grabbed the surfboard and ventured into the waves. The family watched from the shore, hopeful the ocean's embrace might thaw her frosty disposition. As she rode the waves, a genuine smile spread across her face, and her family relaxed, relieved to see her in high spirits. However, in her joyful surfing, the serene waters of the China Sea suddenly turned treacherous. A colossal shadow lurked beneath the surface. A tiger shark, one of the ocean's most fearsome predators. The sounds and motion of the water drew the shark, who quickly closed in on Ada's surfboard. Panic surged through Ada as she realized the imminent danger. In the blink of an eye, the tiger shark launched a brutal attack on her board, its mighty jaws snapping shut with terrifying force. In a desperate bid for survival, Ada reacted instinctively. She twisted and turned, maneuvering her surfboard with astonishing agility. The tiger shark's enormous maw missed its mark by mere inches, munching on the board instead. Splintered wood and frothy waves were all that remained in its wake. Drenched and shaken, but miraculously unharmed, Ada continued to surf with a renewed sense of urgency. She knew her life depended on reaching the shore as quickly as possible. The shark, thwarted in its attempt to seize her, circled in the water, a silent menace below. Ada could feel her leg throbbing with pain as she rode the waves. The tiger shark had inflicted a minor injury, a small but painful wound that served as a chilling reminder of the peril she had faced. Her family, now frantic with worry, watched the harrowing scene unfold from the shore. With unwavering determination, Ada finally reached the safety of the shoreline, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and relief. Her family rushed to her side, their faces etched with concern. When they saw the blood on her leg, their anxiety deepened. Quickly, they whisked Ada to the nearest hospital. The doctors examined her injury and determined that it was not too severe. She would need some time to recover, but her life was not in immediate danger. They advised her to rest for a week to ensure proper healing. As Ada lay in her hospital bed, reflecting on the harrowing encounter, she couldn't help but undergo a profound transformation. The incident had served as a wake-up call, forcing her to confront the consequences of her cold and distant behavior. Ada's family, intensely relieved that their daughter was safe, showered her with love and support during her recovery. They spent quality time together, sharing stories, laughter, and heartfelt moments. Over that week, Ada's outlook on life underwent a dramatic shift. She resolved to be more appreciative of the people around her, and to cherish the moments spent with loved ones. Once a source of fear, the ocean symbolized her newfound perspective, a reminder that life was unpredictable and precious. Ada's leg healed as the days passed, leaving only a scar as a testament to her remarkable escape from the jaws of the tiger. The latter was rarely seen near the beaches. Old fishermen had stories of close encounters in the deeper waters. With his insatiable curiosity, Alex had heard about these bull sharks and was determined to see one. He had been scuba diving in various parts of the world, but had never encountered this particular marine predator. Teaming up with a local guide named Diego Garcia, Alex decided to venture further from the shore, where the waters were deeper and the chances of spotting a bull shark were higher. Diego, a seasoned diver with salt in his veins, had grown up listening to his grandfather's tales of the sea. He knew the waters of San Marino like the back of his hand, and was well aware of the spots where one might glimpse the elusive bull shark. However, he always maintained a safe distance and advised others to do the same. The morning of the dive, the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink. Alex, Diego, and a small group of divers set out on a boat named Marina's Pride. As they ventured further from the shore, Diego briefed the group about safety protocols, emphasizing the importance of maintaining distance from any marine life they might encounter. Hours into the dive, Alex's wish came true amid vibrant corals and schools of colorful fish. A shadow loomed in the distance, its sleek form unmistakably that of a bull shark. The group watched in awe, their hearts racing. The curious but non-aggressive shark circled them a few times before disappearing into the blue. However, in his excitement, Alex swam too close. trying to capture the perfect shot with his underwater camera. Diego noticed and immediately signaled for Alex to retreat, reminding him of the potential danger. As the shark silhouette faded, the group regrouped, their adrenaline